I never thought my 15-year marriage would unravel over a signature I never made. While deployed with the Marine Corps in Afghanistan, my wife Jennifer systematically dismantled the tech consulting business I'd built for over a decade, forging my name on documents that would ultimately trigger the most devastating IRS audit in our state's recent history. The Sandstone Technologies office had been my pride and joy. Founded in 2008, just 2 years after returning from my second tour in the Middle East, the company specialized in cybersecurity solutions for government contractors. I'd built everything from scratch, starting in a small basement office in Tucson, with nothing more than an old laptop, my military communications training, and an unwavering determination to succeed. My wife Jennifer had been there from the beginning. A corporate lawyer with a sharp mind and even sharper ambitions, she'd helped me navigate the early legal challenges of starting a business. We'd met at a veterans networking event in Phoenix, both of us products of military families, both driven by something more than just personal success. Back then, she'd review contracts, offer strategic advice, and believed in the vision we were creating together. By 2018, Sandstone Technologies had grown to employ 23 full-time employees, with annual revenues approaching $3.7 million. We had government contracts with 3 different defense agencies, a reputation for rock-solid security solutions, and a client list that most tech firms would kill to have. I'd managed the technical side, developing innovative cybersecurity protocols, while Jennifer handled the business development and legal frameworks. My last deployment came unexpectedly. A specialized communications role opened up, requiring someone with deep technical expertise and military background. Despite being 42 and having transitioned to civilian life, I was called back to active duty for a critical 9-month intelligence coordination mission in Afghanistan. Jennifer seemed supportive, promising to manage everything in my absence. The first hint that something was wrong came through an encrypted email from my lead engineer, Marcus Rodriguez. "Michael," the message read, "I'm seeing some unusual financial transactions that don't make sense. Several of our key contracts seem to be in negotiation without our standard review process." I dismissed it initially, trusting Jennifer's professional judgment and believing the stress of my deployment was making Marcus overly cautious. When I returned in late October, the office felt different, quieter. Fewer employees buzzed around. The open plan workspace. Jennifer greeted me with a carefully rehearsed smile, wearing a new designer suit that seemed out of place with our typically casual tech company culture. "Welcome home," she said, kissing my cheek with a precision that felt more calculated than affectionate. That first weekend home, I noticed subtle changes. Our home office, once meticulously organized with years of business documentation, had been completely reorganized. File cabinets that previously held years of contracts and financial records were now mostly empty. When I asked about it, Jennifer deflected, talking about streamlining and digital archiving. My military training had always emphasized attention to detail, and something felt fundamentally off. The way Jennifer avoided direct questions about the business, the nervous energy she tried to mask, the sudden expensive purchases, a new Mercedes, designer clothing, a recently renovated home office, all suggested a narrative far different from the struggling tech startup we'd always been. Marcus had been right to be concerned. Within weeks, I discovered a paper trail that would unravel everything. Multiple sales contracts, financing agreements, and most critically, transfer documents for our company's primary intellectual property, all bearing my signature, yet completely unfamiliar to me. The signatures were professional, almost perfect replicas, but they weren't mine. Little did I know that these forged documents would set in motion a chain of events that would not just destroy our business, but would expose a betrayal so calculated, so methodical, that it would make our 15-year marriage look like nothing more than an elaborate long con. The real story was just beginning, and it would ultimately prove that some battles are fought far from any battlefield, with weapons far more dangerous than rifles and grenades. The first official communication arrived 3 weeks after my return. A crisp, white envelope from the Internal Revenue Service bore an ominous certified mail stamp. Jennifer intercepted it, her fingers trembling slightly as she handed me the registered letter. Her eyes, usually sharp and calculating, now held a hint of something I couldn't quite place. Fear, perhaps. The document detailed an impending comprehensive audit of Sandstone Technologies. Massive discrepancies had been flagged in our financial reporting. Transfer of assets, unauthorized sales, and suspicious financial movements had triggered multiple red flags. I remembered Marcus's earlier cryptic email with a growing sense of dread. I spent the next week meticulously combing through our financial records. The Home Office became a war room of sorts. Spreadsheets, bank statements, and contract documents spread across our dining room table. Each document revealed another layer of Jennifer's intricate deception. She had systematically been selling off our company's most valuable intellectual property, routing funds through a complex network of shell companies. My military training had taught me patience and methodical investigation. I knew confronting Jennifer directly would be premature. Instead, I reached out to an old Marine buddy, Derek Ramirez, who now worked as a forensic accountant. "Something's not adding up," I told him during a late-night call. Derek agreed to review the documents discreetly. The more I uncovered, the more the narrative became clear. Jennifer had been planning this for months, perhaps even years. She'd negotiated the sale of our company's primary cybersecurity platform to a competitor, a deal worth nearly $4.2 million. My signature on the transfer documents was so precise that it would fool all but the most careful examination. I discovered she'd opened a separate bank account in her maiden name, transferring substantial amounts of money. The trail led to a condominium in downtown Phoenix, purchased under her name alone, without my knowledge. When I confronted her about the property, she deflected with practiced ease. "It's an investment," she said, her voice smooth and controlled. "I've been planning for our future." Each conversation felt like navigating a minefield. Jennifer's lawyer background showed in every carefully constructed response. She knew exactly how to skirt direct questioning, how to make each statement sound reasonable while hiding a mountain of deceit. The IRS audit notice became my weapon. I began collecting every piece of documentation, every email, every contract. Marcus provided digital records of communication that Jennifer had attempted to delete. Each piece of evidence was another nail in the coffin of her elaborate scheme. Derek's forensic analysis confirmed my worst suspicions. The company's intellectual property had been sold at a fraction of its true value. Multiple tax fraud indicators emerged. Jennifer had created a complex financial structure designed to minimize tax liability and maximize personal gain. "She's been working on this for years," Derek told me, his voice grave. "This isn't a simple case of opportunism. This is premeditated financial warfare." I remembered our early days, how we'd built Sandstone Technologies together, the late nights discussing cybersecurity protocols, the excitement of landing our first government contract, the shared dream of creating something meaningful. Now, it all felt like an elaborate facade. The military had taught me about betrayal. I'd seen it in combat, witnessed how quickly loyalty could crumble under pressure. But this was different. This was a betrayal that cut deeper than any battlefield wound. This was a calculated dismantling of everything we'd built together. Jennifer continued to play her role perfectly. Dinners were civil, conversations carefully measured. She knew nothing of the investigation gathering momentum behind the scenes. Each night, as she slept, I'd spent hours piecing together the complex puzzle of her deception. The IRS audit was no longer just a threat. It was a mechanism of justice, and I was determined to see it through to its ultimate conclusion. My 15 years of military service had prepared me for this moment, a different kind of battle, fought with documents and forensic evidence instead of weapons and strategy. When the full extent of her actions would be revealed, the consequences would be catastrophic. Jennifer had no idea what was coming. The carefully constructed life she'd been building was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one to ensure every detail was exposed. The breakthrough came on a cold Tuesday morning in November. Jennifer had left early for what she claimed was a client meeting, her designer briefcase packed with practiced efficiency. I'd been up since before dawn, reviewing the latest forensic reports Derek had compiled. A call from our lead engineer, Marcus Rodriguez, changed everything. "Michael, I found something you need to see," he said, his voice tight with tension. We met at a small coffee shop near the University of Arizona campus, away from potential prying eyes. Marcus slid an encrypted thumb drive across the table, his hands slightly trembling. "These are backup server logs I managed to preserve," he explained. "When Jennifer started making changes to our core systems, I suspected something was wrong. I created encrypted backups without her knowledge." The drive contained a comprehensive record of every system access, every file transfer, every modification made to the company's digital infrastructure during my deployment. The evidence was damning. Jennifer had systematically stripped Sandstone Technologies of its most valuable assets. Our proprietary cybersecurity algorithms, developed over years of painstaking work, had been copied and prepared for sale. Multiple potential buyers had been contacted, negotiations had been initiated, all without my knowledge or consent. I remembered how we'd first developed those algorithms. Long nights spent hunched over computer screens, fueled by coffee and a shared vision of creating revolutionary cybersecurity solutions. Now those same algorithms were being prepared for sale to the highest bidder. My attorney, Robert Garrett, a former JAG officer I'd known since my early days in the Marines, reviewed the evidence. "This goes beyond simple business fraud," he said, spreading the documents across his conference room table. "We're looking at potential criminal charges, intellectual property theft, forgery, tax fraud. The list is extensive." The personal betrayal cut deeper than the financial damage. Jennifer had methodically dismantled everything we'd built together. Our marriage, our business, our shared dreams, all reduced to a calculated financial transaction. Each piece of evidence revealed another layer of her intricate plan. Bank records showed a pattern of financial maneuvers designed to hide the true extent of her actions. Multiple offshore accounts, shell companies, carefully orchestrated transfers, a complex web of financial deceit that would take months, if not years, to fully unravel. Derek's forensic analysis revealed the full scope of Jennifer's plan. She had been negotiating the sale of Sandstone Technologies for months, identifying potential buyers who would pay top dollar for our intellectual property. The company's cybersecurity platform was worth millions, and she intended to cash out. "Entirely. She's been planning this for years," Derek told me, pointing to a timeline of financial transactions. "Every move was calculated. She waited until you were deployed, knowing you'd be distracted, unable to monitor the business closely." The precision was chilling, a surgical dismantling of everything we'd built together. The IRS audit was no longer just a threat. It was a weapon. Each document we uncovered added another layer to the case against Jennifer. Her background as a corporate lawyer made her actions even more egregious. She understood exactly what she was doing, knew precisely how to navigate the legal landscape. Marcus provided additional context. "She started making changes shortly after you were deployed," he explained. Small modifications at first, redirecting communication channels, accessing systems she normally wouldn't touch. It was gradual, methodical. The betrayal had been years in the making. I thought back to the early days of our marriage, of building Sandstone Technologies together, the late-night strategy sessions, the excitement of landing our first major government contract, the shared dream of creating something meaningful. Now, it all felt like an elaborate facade. Robert began preparing the legal documentation. "We'll need to move quickly," he advised. "Her actions constitute multiple serious legal violations. Intellectual property theft, forgery, potential tax fraud. The criminal implications are significant." The military had taught me about strategic planning, about waiting for the right moment to strike. This would be my most important mission. Yet Jennifer continued to play her role perfectly. Dinners remained civil, conversations carefully measured. She had no idea of the investigation gathering momentum behind the scenes. Each night as she slept, I'd spend hours piecing together the complex puzzle of her deception. The final pieces were falling into place. The IRS audit, initially a threat, was now a mechanism of justice. My 15 years of military service had prepared me for this moment, a different kind of battle, fought with documents and forensic evidence instead of weapons and strategy. When the full extent of her actions would be revealed, the consequences would be catastrophic. Jennifer had no idea what was coming. The carefully constructed life she'd been building was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one to ensure every detail was exposed. The confrontation was inevitable. I chose the moment carefully, with the same strategic precision I'd learned during my years in military intelligence. A Saturday morning, when Jennifer would least expect it, her guard momentarily down. We sat in the kitchen of our Phoenix home, sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the meticulously landscaped backyard. The very space where we'd once discussed our dreams now became the arena for our final reckoning. I had spread out the documents, bank statements, forged contracts, communication logs, a carefully curated exhibition of her betrayal. "I know everything," I said quietly, my voice devoid of emotion. Jennifer's reaction was instantaneous, a micro-expression of panic quickly masked by her practiced professional composure. She reached for her coffee mug, a subtle attempt to buy time. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her lawyer's training evident in the measured tone. But I'd spent years reading complex communication signals in war zones. I knew every tell, every deflection. I began methodically laying out the evidence. The unauthorized sale of our company's primary cybersecurity platform, the forged signatures, the complex network of shell companies designed to obscure financial transactions. Each piece of documentation was a surgical strike, dismantling her carefully constructed narrative. Derek Ramirez's forensic report was the most damning. He'd traced every financial movement, every suspicious transfer. The total value of the assets Jennifer had attempted to sell or had already sold exceeded $6.3 million, our life's work, reduced to a calculated financial transaction. "I've already spoken with the IRS," I continued, watching her face, "and with our attorney. Everything has been documented." The color drained from Jennifer's face. Not the dramatic collapse one might see in movies, but a subtle, professional retreat. Her defense was predictable. "I was trying to protect our future," she argued, voice rising slightly. "The business was becoming unstable. I was making strategic decisions, but the documents told a different story. Each financial move was carefully planned, executed with a precision that spoke of long-term premeditation. The most shocking revelation came from the digital forensics. Jennifer had been in communication with potential buyers for months, negotiating the sale of our intellectual property during my deployment. She'd created elaborate digital trails designed to look legitimate, but Marcus's preserved server logs told the true story. I thought about our early days, how we'd built Sandstone Technologies together, how we'd shared every dream, every challenge. The late nights developing cybersecurity protocols, the excitement of landing government contracts. Now, it all felt like an elaborate illusion. Robert Garrett, my attorney, had prepared the legal groundwork meticulously. We weren't just preparing for a civil case. The evidence suggested potential criminal charges. Intellectual property theft, forgery, tax fraud. The list was extensive. Jennifer's background as a corporate lawyer made her actions even more egregious. She understood exactly what she was doing, knew precisely how to navigate the legal landscape. But in her calculated approach, she'd overlooked one crucial detail: my unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. "I want a divorce," I said finally, sliding the preliminary papers across the table. No anger, no raised voices, just a statement of fact. Jennifer had effectively destroyed our marriage long before this moment, during those months of calculated betrayal while I served my country. The next few weeks would be a legal and financial battlefield. But I'd faced far more challenging missions in Afghanistan. This was just another operation, another mission to protect what was rightfully mine. As Jennifer sat across from me, her carefully constructed world crumbling, I felt a strange sense of calm. The military had taught me about resilience, about finding strength in the most challenging circumstances. This was just another test, and I was prepared to see it through to the end. The legal machinery moved with a precision that would have impressed my most disciplined military commanders. Robert Garrett assembled a team that transformed our conference room into a war room of legal strategy. Each document, each piece of digital evidence became a weapon in our arsenal against Jennifer's calculated betrayal. The IRS investigation escalated rapidly. Special Agent Karen Winters had seen her share of corporate fraud, but our case presented a complexity that went beyond typical financial crimes. The systematic dismantling of Sandstone Technologies revealed a level of premeditation that shocked even seasoned investigators. Marcus Rodriguez became our most critical witness. As the lead engineer who had preserved crucial server logs, his testimony would be instrumental. We met in a secure location, away from potential prying eyes, to review the digital forensic evidence. "I started noticing irregularities about 6 months into your deployment," Marcus explained, spreading out digital timelines and access logs. The evidence painted a chilling picture. Jennifer had been methodically accessing sensitive company systems, downloading proprietary algorithms, and preparing them for sale. She'd created multiple digital identities, used sophisticated encryption methods to hide her tracks. But Marcus had been more sophisticated, creating encrypted backups that captured every single action. Derek Ramirez's forensic accounting report arrived like a tactical strike. The financial trail was intricate, a web of shell companies, offshore accounts, and carefully disguised financial transfers. The total value of assets Jennifer had attempted to sell or had already sold approached $7.2 million. Our life's work reduced to a calculated financial transaction. The first official hearing was scheduled in the federal courthouse in downtown Phoenix. Jennifer arrived with a legal team that looked more like a corporate war council. Expensive suits, carefully prepared statements, a facade of professional composure. But I'd seen through facades in far more challenging environments. My military background became an unexpected advantage. The discipline, the strategic thinking, the ability to remain calm under pressure, these were skills honed during years of service. While Jennifer's team prepared their offensive, I was building a defense that was methodical, comprehensive, and ultimately devastating. The initial depositions revealed the depth of Jennifer's betrayal. She'd been planning this for years, waiting for the perfect moment. My extended deployment created a window of opportunity she couldn't resist. Each document, each communication log told a story of calculated manipulation. Robert Garrett's strategy was brilliant. We weren't just fighting a civil case, we were building a criminal case. Intellectual property theft, forgery, tax fraud, the potential charges were extensive. Jennifer's background as a corporate lawyer made her actions even more egregious. She understood exactly what she was doing, knew precisely how to navigate the legal landscape. The digital forensics became our most powerful weapon. Marcus had preserved not just server logs, but entire communication chains. Emails, instant messages, file transfer records, a comprehensive digital trail that captured Jennifer's systematic dismantling of Sandstone Technologies. Our first major breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A former employee, Sarah Chen, contacted us with additional information. She'd been uncomfortable with some of the changes Jennifer had implemented during my deployment, but hadn't known how to raise her concerns. Her testimony would provide critical context to our case. The IRS investigation began to take shape. Special Agent Winters explained the complexity of our case. "This isn't just a simple corporate fraud," she told me during one of our strategy sessions. "This is a sophisticated financial crime that was years in the making. Each week brought new revelations. Bank records showed a pattern of financial maneuvers designed to hide the true extent of Jennifer's actions. Multiple offshore accounts, shell companies, carefully orchestrated transfers, a complex web of financial deceit that would take months to fully unravel. My military training had prepared me for this moment. Patience, precision, the ability to gather intelligence and build a comprehensive case. Each piece of evidence was another step towards exposing the full extent of Jennifer's betrayal. The personal cost was significant. Our 15-year marriage, the dreams we'd shared, the company we'd built together, all reduced to a legal battle, but I was committed to seeing this through, not out of anger, but out of a fundamental belief in justice. As the legal proceedings continued, I found strength in unexpected places. My military brothers in arms, my team at Sandstone Technologies, even strangers who heard our story, they provided support that went beyond mere sympathy. This was about more than money. This was about protecting everything we'd worked to build. The final pieces were falling into place. The IRS audit, the digital forensics, the witness testimonies, each element was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth. Jennifer had no idea what was coming. The carefully constructed life she'd been building was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one to ensure every detail was exposed. The federal courthouse in downtown Phoenix stood like a monument to justice, imposing, uncompromising. The morning light cast long shadows across marble floors as our legal team assembled. Jennifer arrived with her high-powered attorneys, a carefully curated image of professional composure that masked the desperation brewing beneath the surface. Our case had become more than a simple divorce or business dispute. It was a comprehensive investigation that threatened to unravel every carefully constructed lie Jennifer had maintained for years. The IRS forensic team had been meticulously building a case that went far beyond civil litigation. This was potential. Criminal prosecution. Special Agent Karen Winters arrived with a stack of documentation that told a story of calculated financial manipulation. Each document was a piece of a complex puzzle, revealing how Jennifer had systematically dismantled Sandstone Technologies while I was deployed overseas. The forensic trail was intricate, a network of shell companies, hidden transfers, and deliberately obscured financial transactions. Marcus Rodriguez's expert testimony would be our most powerful weapon. As our lead engineer, he had preserved critical server logs and digital communication records that captured every unauthorized access, every suspicious file transfer. His technical expertise transformed abstract financial data into a compelling narrative of systematic theft and fraud. The preliminary hearing began with a detailed presentation of the forensic evidence. Derek Ramirez walked the court through a financial timeline that was nothing short of devastating. Bank records showed a pattern of calculated moves, multiple offshore accounts, shell companies, carefully orchestrated transfers designed to hide the true extent of Jennifer's actions. My military background became an unexpected asset. Years of intelligence training had taught me patience, strategic thinking, and the ability to remain calm under extreme pressure. While Jennifer's legal team attempted to construct elaborate defenses, I sat quietly, watching every nuanced interaction. With the detachment of a strategic observer, Sarah Chen's testimony added another critical layer to our case. As a former employee of Sandstone Technologies, she provided crucial insider perspective. She described subtle changes Jennifer had implemented during my deployment, small modifications to access protocols, unusual communication patterns, strategic repositioning of key company assets. The digital forensics were particularly damning. Marcus had preserved not just server logs, but entire communication chains. Emails, instant messages, file transfer records, a comprehensive digital trail that captured Jennifer's systematic dismantling of our company. Each piece of evidence was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth. Robert Garrett, my attorney, approached the case with the same strategic precision I'd applied during military operations. This isn't just about financial fraud, he argued during a critical pre-trial strategy session. This is a calculated, long-term plan to completely dismantle a successful business and redirect its most valuable assets. The total value of assets Jennifer had attempted to sell, or had already sold, approached $7.5 million. Proprietary cybersecurity algorithms, developed over years of painstaking work, were prepared for sale to multiple potential buyers. Each algorithm represented not just financial value, but intellectual property that represented our company's core innovation. Forensic analysis revealed the depth of Jennifer's preparation. She had been planning this for years, waiting for the perfect moment. My extended military deployment created a window of opportunity she couldn't resist. Communication logs showed strategic conversations with potential buyers, carefully timed, to occur during my absence. The IRS investigation uncovered multiple layers of financial manipulation. Jennifer had created an intricate network of shell companies designed to obscure the movement of funds. Each transfer, each financial transaction was carefully crafted to appear legitimate, a testament to her background as a corporate lawyer. Witnesses began to emerge. Former colleagues, business associates, even personal acquaintances provided testimonies that painted a comprehensive picture of Jennifer's calculated approach. Each statement added another layer to our case, revealing a pattern of behavior that went far beyond a single instance of financial misconduct. My personal journey became intertwined with the legal proceedings. The betrayal cut deeper than the financial damage. Everything we'd built together, our marriage, our business, our shared dreams, had been reduced to a calculated financial transaction. But I was committed to exposing the truth, not out of anger, but out of a fundamental belief in justice. The legal battlefield was complex, multidimensional. We weren't just fighting a civil case, we were building a criminal case that threatened to completely dismantle Jennifer's professional and personal reputation. Intellectual property theft, forgery, tax fraud. The potential charges were extensive and devastating. As the proceedings continued, I found strength in unexpected places. My military brothers in arms, my team at Sandstone Technologies, even strangers who heard our story. They provided support that went beyond mere sympathy. This was about more than money. This was about protecting everything we'd worked to build. The final pieces were falling into place: the IRS audit, the digital forensics, the witness testimonies. Each element was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth. Jennifer had no idea what was coming. The carefully constructed life she'd been building was about to come crashing down, and I would be the one to ensure every detail was exposed. The courtroom felt like a battlefield of a different kind. One, fought with documents, testimonies, and forensic evidence. Jennifer's carefully constructed facade began to crumble under the weight of overwhelming documentation. The federal prosecutor's presentation was methodical, surgically precise in its deconstruction of her elaborate financial scheme. Special Agent Karen Winters took the stand, her testimony a culmination of months of intensive investigation. She detailed the complex financial transactions, the unauthorized transfers, the systematic dismantling of Sandstone Technologies' assets. Each slide, each financial record told a story of calculated betrayal that went far beyond simple business misconduct. Marcus Rodriguez's expert testimony transformed technical complexity into a narrative that even a layperson could understand. He walked the court through the digital forensics, explaining how Jennifer had systematically accessed company systems, downloaded proprietary algorithms, and prepared them for sale. The server logs he had meticulously preserved became a digital breadcrumb trail of her actions. Derek Ramirez's forensic accounting report was equally devastating. He broke down the financial movements with surgical precision, showing how Jennifer had created a network of shell companies designed to obscure the movement of millions of dollars. The total value of assets she had attempted to sell or had already sold approached $8 million, a staggering figure that represented years of hard work and innovation. The personal betrayal cut deeper than the financial damage. Each piece of evidence revealed not just a business crime, but a systematic destruction of everything we had built together. Our 15-year marriage, the dreams we'd shared, the company we'd developed from nothing, all reduced to a calculated financial transaction. Sarah. Jen's testimony added critical context. As a former employee of Sandstone Technologies, she described the subtle changes Jennifer had implemented during my deployment. Small modifications to access protocols, unusual communication patterns, strategic repositioning of key company assets. Her insights provided a human dimension to the technical evidence. Robert Garrett's legal strategy was a masterpiece of precision. He wasn't just presenting a case, he was constructing a comprehensive narrative of betrayal. This isn't about a simple business dispute, he argued during his closing statements. This is about a calculated long-term plan to completely dismantle a successful business and redirect its most valuable assets. Jennifer's legal team fought back with every tool at their disposal. They attempted to paint me as an absent husband, suggesting that my extended military deployments had created a situation of financial necessity. They argued that Jennifer had been acting in the best interests of our financial future, but the evidence told a different story. The digital forensics became our most powerful weapon: communication logs, email chains, file transfer records, a comprehensive digital trail that captured Jennifer's systematic betrayal. Each document was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth, revealing a level of premeditation that shocked even seasoned investigators. My military background provided an unexpected advantage. Years of intelligence training had taught me patience, strategic thinking, and the ability to remain calm under extreme pressure. While Jennifer's team constructed elaborate defenses, I sat quietly, observing every nuanced interaction with the detachment of a strategic observer. The IRS investigation had uncovered layers of financial manipulation that went beyond simple fraud. Jennifer had created an intricate network designed to hide the movement of funds, using her legal background to construct seemingly legitimate financial structures. Each transfer, each transaction was carefully crafted to appear innocent. Witnesses continued to emerge. Former colleagues, business associates, even personal acquaintances provided testimonies that painted a comprehensive picture of Jennifer's calculated approach. Each statement added another layer to our case, revealing a pattern of behavior that went far beyond a single instance of financial misconduct. The personal cost was significant. Our shared history, the memories we'd created, the life we'd built together, all of it was now reduced to legal documentation and forensic evidence. But I remained committed to exposing the truth, driven by a fundamental belief in justice that had been ingrained during years of military service. As the legal proceedings continued, I found strength in unexpected places. My military brothers in arms, my team at Sandstone Technologies, even strangers who heard our story, they provided support that went beyond mere sympathy. This was about more than money. This was about protecting everything we'd worked to build. The final stages of the legal battle approached. The IRS audit, the digital forensics, the witness testimonies. Each element was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth. Jennifer had no idea what was coming. The carefully constructed life she'd been building was about to come crashing down. And I would be the one to ensure every detail was exposed. The final judgment arrived on a crisp morning in late January, the courtroom silent with anticipation. Years of military training had prepared me for moments of critical tension, but nothing could have fully readied me for the culmination of this legal battle that had consumed every aspect of my life. Judge Elizabeth Hardwick was known for her meticulous approach to complex financial cases. She had spent months reviewing the extensive documentation, listening to testimonies, and dissecting the intricate web of financial manipulations that Jennifer had constructed. Her reputation for fairness was matched only by her commitment to exposing the truth. The judgment began with a comprehensive review of the evidence. Special Agent Karen Winters from the IRS had spent countless hours piecing together the financial trail, exposing each carefully constructed deception. The forensic evidence was overwhelming, a systematic dismantling of Sandstone Technologies that went far beyond simple financial misconduct. Marcus Rodriguez's expert testimony had been particularly crucial. As our lead engineer, he had preserved critical server logs that captured every unauthorized access, every suspicious file transfer. His technical expertise had transformed abstract financial data into a compelling narrative of systematic theft and fraud. Derek Ramirez's forensic accounting report laid bare the full extent of Jennifer's financial manipulations. Multiple shell companies, offshore accounts, carefully orchestrated transfers, a complex web designed to hide the movement of millions of dollars. The total value of assets Jennifer had attempted to sell or had already sold approached $8.5 million, a staggering figure that represented years of innovative work. The court finds clear and convincing evidence of intentional financial fraud, Judge Hardwick declared, her voice cutting through the courtroom like a surgical instrument. The defendant, Jennifer Thompson, systematically and deliberately worked to dismantle Sandstone Technologies while the plaintiff was deployed overseas serving his country. The judgment was comprehensive and devastating, complete dissolution of any joint financial assets. Jennifer was barred from any involvement with Sandstone Technologies. Criminal charges would be pursued for intellectual property theft, tax fraud, and financial manipulation. Her professional credentials would be under severe scrutiny, potentially ending her career as a corporate lawyer. Sarah Chen's testimony had provided critical context that went beyond the financial evidence. She described the subtle changes Jennifer had implemented during my deployment, modifications to access protocols, unusual communication patterns, strategic repositioning of key company assets. Her insights had been instrumental in revealing the premeditated nature of Jennifer's actions. Robert Garrett's legal strategy had been nothing short of masterful. He had transformed our case from a simple divorce and business dispute into a comprehensive exposé of financial fraud. This wasn't an opportunistic crime, he had argued during closing arguments. This was a carefully planned, long-term strategy to completely dismantle a successful business and redirect its most valuable assets. The digital forensics had been our most powerful weapon. Preserved communication logs, email chains, file transfer records, a comprehensive digital trail that captured Jennifer's systematic betrayal. Each document was a precision instrument designed to expose the truth, revealing a level of premeditation that shocked even seasoned investigators. My military background had provided an unexpected advantage throughout the proceedings. Years of intelligence training had taught me patience, strategic thinking, and the ability to remain calm under extreme pressure. While Jennifer's legal team constructed elaborate defenses, I had sat quietly, observing every nuanced interaction with the detachment of a strategic observer. The IRS investigation had uncovered layers of financial manipulation that went far beyond simple fraud. Jennifer had created an intricate network designed to hide the movement of funds, using her legal background to construct seemingly legitimate financial structures. Each transfer, each transaction had been carefully crafted to appear innocent. As the judgment was read, I watched Jennifer. The carefully constructed facade she had maintained throughout the legal proceedings began to crumble. Years of planning, of calculated manipulation, were unraveling in a matter of moments. The professional composure she had so carefully maintained dissolved, revealing the desperation beneath. The personal cost had been significant. Our 15-year marriage, the memories we'd created, the life we'd built together, all of it reduced to legal documentation and forensic evidence. But I remained committed to exposing the truth, driven by a fundamental belief in justice that had been ingrained during years of military service. Sandstone Technologies would be rebuilt. Marcus Rodriguez had been instrumental in preserving our core intellectual property, ensuring that the company's innovative work would not be lost. We would recover, we would rebuild, a testament to the resilience that had carried me through years of military service. The judgment included provisions for full restitution. Jennifer would be required to repay every dollar she had attempted to steal or had successfully transferred. Her personal and professional reputation was in tatters. The carefully constructed life she had been building was now completely destroyed. As we left the courthouse, the weight of the past months lifted. My military training had prepared me for this moment. The patient gathering of intelligence, the strategic approach, the unwavering commitment to exposing the truth. Justice had been served, not through anger or vengeance, but through methodical, precise action. The old oak trees outside the courthouse seemed to stand as silent witnesses. They had seen countless stories of betrayal and redemption. Now they would witness another, a story of a veteran who refused to let his life's work be stolen, who fought back with the same discipline and determination he had applied in service. To his country, Sandstone Technologies would rise again, and I would be the one to ensure it. The aftermath of the legal battle was a landscape of rebuilding and reclamation. Sandstone Technologies had been wounded, but not destroyed. The core of our innovation remained intact, preserved by Marcus Rodriguez's foresight and my unwavering commitment to protect what we had built. Our first strategic meeting took place in a small conference room at a temporary office space we'd secured in downtown Phoenix. Marcus Rodriguez sat across from me, his eyes reflecting the same determination that had carried us through the darkest moments of our legal battle. Sarah Chen, who had been instrumental in exposing Jennifer's betrayal, joined us as our new Chief Operations Officer. "We're not just rebuilding," I told the team. "We're reimagining everything." The experience had taught us the importance of resilience, of creating systems that could withstand even the most calculated attempts at destruction. Our cybersecurity protocols would now include layers of protection that went beyond traditional technological safeguards. Derek Ramirez's forensic analysis had revealed more than just Jennifer's financial manipulations. It had exposed vulnerabilities in our corporate structure that we would now address systematically. Each piece of evidence became a learning opportunity, a chance to build something stronger, more resistant to internal threats. The financial recovery was complex. Robert Garrett continued to work tirelessly, pursuing every avenue of restitution. The court-ordered forensic audit would take months, potentially years to complete. But each recovered dollar was a small victory, a testament to our commitment to justice. Special Agent Karen Winters from the IRS remained involved, her investigation extending beyond our specific case. Jennifer's actions had revealed a broader pattern of financial fraud that would have implications far beyond Sandstone Technologies. Her systematic approach had uncovered a network of potential financial crimes that would take years to fully unravel. Our client base had been initially shaken by the legal proceedings. Government contractors are notoriously risk-averse, and the public nature of our legal battle had raised concerns. But our transparency, our commitment to addressing the issues head-on, began to rebuild trust. Marcus developed a new suite of cybersecurity protocols that would become our signature offering. "What Jennifer tried to do," he explained during one of our strategy sessions, "revealed weaknesses we never knew existed. Our pain would become our greatest source of innovation." The personal rebuild was equally challenging. Years of marriage, of shared dreams, had been reduced to legal documents and forensic evidence. I found solace in the support of my military brothers in arms, in the team that had stood by me throughout the most challenging period of my professional life. Sarah Chen's role became crucial in our rebuilding process. Her insider knowledge, combined with her unwavering integrity, helped us reconstruct the core of our business. We implemented new hiring protocols, new ways of tracking intellectual property, new methods of internal oversight that would prevent future attempts at manipulation. The financial recovery was a slow, methodical process. Each recovered asset was a victory, each restitution payment a step towards healing. The court had been clear. Jennifer would be required to repay every dollar she had attempted to steal or had successfully transferred. Our approach to rebuilding was holistic. We weren't just recovering financially, we were creating a new corporate culture. Team meetings became sessions of collective healing, of transforming our pain into strength. Every challenge became an opportunity for innovation. The technology sector can be unforgiving. Our legal battle could have been the end of Sandstone Technologies. Instead, it became our renaissance. Clients began to see our story not as a weakness, but as a testament to our resilience, our commitment to integrity. I spent evenings reviewing our strategic plan, drawing parallels between military strategy and corporate rebuilding. The discipline, the patience, the strategic thinking I had learned in military service became our greatest assets. We would not just survive, we would thrive. Marcus developed training programs that went beyond traditional cybersecurity protocols. We began offering workshops for other tech companies, sharing the lessons we had learned through our most challenging experience. Our pain would become a source of collective learning. The personal toll was significant. 15 years of marriage, of shared dreams, had been reduced to legal documents and forensic evidence. But I discovered a strength I hadn't known existed. the ability to transform betrayal into opportunity, to see beyond the immediate pain to a future of possibility. Our rebuilt team became closer than ever. The shared experience of overcoming betrayal created a bond that went beyond typical corporate relationships. We were more than colleagues. We were a family forged in the fires of challenge. The legal proceedings had exposed Jennifer's actions to the broader professional community. Her professional credentials were under severe scrutiny, potentially ending her career as a corporate lawyer. The consequences of her actions extended far beyond our specific case. As months passed, Sandstone Technologies began to not just recover, but excel. Our new cybersecurity protocols became industry-leading. Clients who had initially been hesitant now sought us out, drawn by our story of resilience, our commitment to transparency and innovation. The old oak trees outside our new office seemed to stand as silent witnesses to our journey. They had seen countless stories of betrayal and redemption. Now they would watch as we continued to grow, to innovate, to transform our greatest challenge into our most significant opportunity. Sandstone Technologies would not just survive. We would redefine what it meant to overcome. 2 years had passed since the legal battle that had transformed every aspect of my life. Sandstone Technologies had not just recovered, we had become an industry leader in cybersecurity innovation, our story of resilience becoming as powerful as our technological solutions. The annual conference in Washington, D.C. marked a pivotal moment. I stood on the main stage, addressing a room filled with government contractors, technology executives, and cybersecurity experts. My presentation wasn't just about our technological advancements. It was a testament to survival, to the power of integrity in the face of profound betrayal. Marcus Rodriguez stood backstage, monitoring our latest presentation on advanced threat detection systems. The algorithms we'd developed in the wake of Jennifer's betrayal had become industry standard. Our pain transformed into innovation that protected countless organizations from internal threats. Sarah Chen had become more than just our chief operations officer. She was the strategic mind that had helped rebuild Sandstone Technologies from the ground up. Her ability to turn our most challenging moment into a catalyst for growth had been instrumental in our transformation. The forensic analysis that Derek Ramirez had conducted during our legal battle had become a case study in corporate fraud detection. Universities were now teaching our experience as a masterclass in identifying and preventing internal financial manipulation. What had been our darkest moment had become a beacon of learning for others. Special Agent Karen Winters from the IRS had become an unexpected ally. The investigation into Jennifer's actions had uncovered a broader network of financial crimes, leading to multiple prosecutions across various industries. Our case had become a turning point in how financial fraud was investigated and prosecuted. I thought back to the moment when everything had begun to unravel. The discovery of Jennifer's betrayal, the methodical gathering of evidence, the legal battle that had consumed 2 years of my life. What had seemed like a devastating personal and professional destruction had become our greatest opportunity for reinvention. The technology sector had initially been skeptical. A company that had been so publicly dismantled, a leadership team that had been so deeply betrayed. Conventional wisdom suggested we would never recover. But we had done more than recover. We had redefined resilience. Our new cybersecurity protocols went far beyond technological solutions. We had developed a holistic approach that addressed the human elements of corporate security, the psychological and organizational vulnerabilities that made internal fraud possible. Each algorithm, each security measure was informed by our personal experience. The financial recovery had been remarkable. Not only had we recovered the assets Jennifer had attempted to steal, but we had also developed new revenue streams that had exponentially increased our company's value. The $8.5 million she had tried to fraudulently transfer seemed insignificant compared to our current valuation. Robert Garrett, the attorney who had been instrumental in our legal battle, now served as a strategic advisor. His understanding of the legal landscape, combined with our technological expertise, had created a unique consulting arm of our business that helped other companies prevent similar betrayals. Our client list had transformed. Government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, international corporations, they sought us out not just for our technological expertise, but for the story of our resilience. Our experience had become our most powerful marketing tool. The personal transformation was equally profound. The betrayal that had threatened to destroy me had become the catalyst for my most significant personal growth. I had discovered a strength that went beyond my military training, a resilience that transformed pain into purpose. Marcus's development of our new cybersecurity suite had been revolutionary. The algorithms we'd created could detect potential internal threats with a precision that was unprecedented. Our pain had literally become our most significant technological innovation. Sarah Chen had been instrumental in reshaping our corporate culture. We implemented training programs that went beyond traditional security protocols. Our approach addressed the human elements of corporate security, understanding psychological triggers, recognizing potential signs of internal fraud. The legal proceedings against Jennifer had concluded with comprehensive consequences. Her professional credentials had been permanently revoked. The network of shell companies she had created had been completely dismantled. Every attempt at financial manipulation had been exposed and addressed. Our team had become more than just colleagues. We were a family forged in the fires of challenge, united by our shared experience of overcoming betrayal. Each member brought a unique perspective, a commitment to integrity that went beyond traditional corporate values. The technology conferences where we presented became more than just professional gatherings. They were platforms for sharing our story, for demonstrating how personal and professional challenges could be transformed into opportunities for innovation and growth. Derek Ramirez's forensic techniques had become standard practice in corporate investigations. Universities were now teaching case studies based on our experience, using our story as a blueprint for identifying and preventing internal corporate fraud. The IRS investigation that had begun with our case had uncovered a broader network of financial crimes. Special Agent Karen Winters had used our experience as a template for investigating complex financial manipulations, leading to multiple prosecutions across various industries. As I looked out over the conference hall, I realized that our journey was about more than recovering from betrayal. It was about transforming our most significant challenge into our greatest opportunity. Sandstone Technologies had become more than a cybersecurity company. We were now a symbol of resilience, of the power of integrity. The old oak trees that had witnessed our journey seemed to stand as silent testament to our transformation. They had seen our lowest moment, our most challenging struggle. Now they would watch as we continued to grow, to innovate, to redefine what was possible. We were not just survivors. We were architects of our own destiny. The invitation arrived on a crisp autumn morning, sealed in an official envelope from the Department of Defense. As I opened it, memories of my military service flooded back. The discipline, the sense of purpose, the brotherhood that had defined so much of my life before Sandstone Technologies became my new mission. Secretary of Defense was hosting a special symposium on corporate integrity and national security. My journey from betrayal to innovation had caught the attention of high-level government officials. They wanted me to share our story, not just as a cautionary tale, but as a blueprint for protecting critical technological infrastructure. Marcus Rodriguez accompanied me to Washington, D.C., our preparation for the presentation as meticulous as any military operation we'd previously planned. Sarah Chen had spent weeks helping us refine our narrative, ensuring that our story would resonate beyond mere personal experience. The conference center buzzed with an energy that reminded me of military briefings, sharp minds, strategic thinkers, individuals committed to protecting national interests. Government contractors, cybersecurity experts, and defense technology leaders filled the room. Our presentation would be more than a personal story. It would be a case study in resilience and innovation. Derek Ramirez had been instrumental in preparing the forensic data that would accompany our presentation. The financial analysis we'd developed had become a critical tool for identifying potential internal threats in corporate and government sectors. What had begun as our personal struggle had transformed into a national security asset. Special Agent Karen Winters introduced our keynote presentation. Her voice carried the weight of the IRS investigation that had exposed Jennifer's fraudulent actions. "What you're about to hear," she told the assembled experts, "is more than a story of corporate survival. It's a blueprint for protecting our most critical technological assets." I thought back to the moment of discovery, finding those first pieces of evidence that revealed Jennifer's betrayal. The pain of that moment had been overwhelming, a personal and professional devastation that threatened to destroy everything I'd built. Now, that same moment had become our greatest source of strength. The presentation tracked our journey from betrayal to innovation. We detailed the specific vulnerabilities Jennifer had exploited, the technological and human factors that had made our initial systems susceptible to internal threat. Each slide was a lesson, each analysis a potential safeguard for other organizations. Marcus's technical deep dive was particularly compelling. He broke down the algorithmic innovations we'd developed in response to our experience. Predictive threat detection systems that could identify potential internal fraud with unprecedented accuracy. Government representatives leaned forward, their interest palpable. Sarah Chen discussed the human elements of corporate security, the psychological profiles, the organizational dynamics that create opportunities for betrayal. Her analysis went beyond technology, exploring the complex human factors that enable corporate fraud. The Q&A session revealed the true impact of our story. Cybersecurity experts, government officials, corporate leaders, they saw our experience not as a personal tragedy, but as a critical learning opportunity. Questions came rapid fire, each seeking to understand how our journey could prevent similar betrayals. A senior defense technology advisor approached us during the break. "What you've developed," he said, studying our presentation materials, "is more than a security protocol. It's a new approach to organizational resilience." The recognition was validation of our most challenging journey. Our experience had become more than a personal story. It was now a critical case study in corporate security, a testament to the power of transforming personal pain into systemic innovation. Universities were now teaching our approach. Government agencies were adopting our methodologies. The legal consequences for Jennifer had been comprehensive. Her professional credentials permanently revoked, her network of fraudulent financial structures completely dismantled. The justice system had recognized the full extent of her actions, providing a measure of closure. As the conference continued, I reflected on the journey that had brought us to this moment. The betrayal that had threatened to destroy Sandstone Technologies had instead become our greatest source of innovation. We had transformed our most significant challenge into an opportunity for growth. Derek Ramirez's forensic techniques had become standard practice in corporate investigations. The financial analysis we'd developed was now used by government agencies and private corporations to identify potential internal threats. Our pain had become a protective mechanism for others. The technology sector had initially been skeptical of our recovery. A company so publicly dismantled, a leadership team so deeply betrayed, conventional wisdom suggested we would never rebuild. But we had done more than recover. We had redefined what was possible. Special Agent Winters approached us after the presentation. "Your work," she said, "has fundamentally changed how we approach corporate fraud investigations." The recognition went beyond personal validation. It was an acknowledgement of the broader impact of our journey. Our client list had transformed dramatically. Government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, international corporations, they sought us out, not just for our technological expertise, but for the story of our resilience. Our experience had become our most powerful marketing tool. Marcus continued to push the boundaries of our technological innovation. The cybersecurity algorithms we'd developed were now being studied by leading research institutions. Our response to betrayal had become a catalyst for technological advancement. Sarah Chen had been instrumental in reshaping not just our corporate culture, but how organizations approach internal security. The training programs we'd developed addressed the complex psychological and organizational factors that enable fraud. As the conference concluded, I looked around the room. Government officials, technology leaders, cybersecurity experts, they saw us not as victims, but as innovators. Our journey from betrayal to innovation had become a blueprint for organizational resilience. The old oak trees outside the conference center seemed to stand as silent witnesses to our transformation. They had seen our lowest moment, our most challenging struggle. Now they would watch as we continued to grow, to innovate, to redefine what was possible. We were not just survivors. We were architects of our own destiny. 5 years had passed since the day I discovered Jennifer's betrayal. Sandstone Technologies had become more than a company. It was a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of transformation in the face of overwhelming adversity. Our annual leadership retreat took place at a secluded ranch outside Phoenix, a location chosen for its symbolism of open spaces and new beginnings. Marcus Rodriguez, Sarah Chen, and the core team that had helped rebuild our company gathered around a large oak table surrounded by the vast Arizona landscape that mirrored our own journey of expansive growth. Derek Ramirez presented our latest innovation, a comprehensive threat detection system that had become the gold standard for government and private sector cybersecurity. What had begun as our response to personal betrayal had evolved into a technological breakthrough that protected thousands of organizations worldwide. The morning session began with a reflection on our journey. Each team member shared how the experience had transformed their understanding of professional integrity, of resilience, of the delicate balance between trust and vigilance. Our story was no longer just about survival. It was about reimagining what was possible. Special Agent Karen Winters joined us via video conference, bringing updates on the broader investigations that had stemmed from our case. The network of financial fraud we had exposed had led to multiple prosecutions, systemic changes in how corporate financial crimes were investigated and prevented. I thought back to the moments of darkness, the discovery of Jennifer's betrayal, the legal battles, the seemingly insurmountable challenges we had faced. Each obstacle had been a turning point, each challenge an opportunity for innovation. Our pain had become our most powerful asset. The technology we had developed went far beyond traditional cybersecurity measures. We had created a holistic approach that addressed the human elements of organizational security, understanding the psychological triggers, the organizational dynamics that enable internal threats. Sarah Chen's work on organizational psychology had become a critical component of our offering. Companies now sought our expertise not just for technological solutions, but for comprehensive strategies that address the complex human factors behind corporate vulnerabilities. Marcus continued to push the boundaries of technological innovation. The algorithms we'd developed were now being studied by leading research institutions, our approach to threat detection revolutionizing how organizations approached internal security. Our client list had become a who's who of government agencies, Fortune 500 companies, and international corporations. They sought us out not just for our technological expertise, but for the story of our resilience. Our journey had become our most powerful marketing tool. The legal proceedings against Jennifer had long since concluded. Her professional credentials permanently revoked, her network of fraudulent financial structures completely dismantled. The justice system had provided a measure of closure, but our focus remained on moving forward. As the leadership meeting continued, I reflected on the broader implications of our journey. We had transformed a moment of profound betrayal into a catalyst for innovation, a blueprint for organizational resilience that extended far beyond our own experience. Derek Ramirez's forensic techniques had become standard practice in corporate investigations. Universities now taught case studies based on our experience, using our story as a framework for identifying and preventing internal corporate fraud. The Department of Defense continued to collaborate with us, our innovations in cybersecurity becoming critical to national security infrastructure. What had begun as a personal struggle had evolved into a national asset, a testament to the power of resilience and innovation. Special Agent Winters's ongoing investigations had uncovered broader networks of financial crime, with our case serving as a pivotal moment in how such frauds were approached and investigated. Our experience had become a turning point in corporate security methodology. Marcus and Sarah had become more than colleagues. They were family. The shared experience of overcoming betrayal had created a bond that went beyond typical professional relationships. We were united by our commitment to integrity, to transformation. As the day concluded, we gathered outside, watching the Arizona sunset paint the landscape in hues of gold and crimson. The vast open space seemed to mirror our own journey, expansive, full of possibility, defined not by our past challenges, but by our potential for growth. Our story was far from over. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities for innovation. Sandstone Technologies had become more than a company. It was a movement, a testament to the power of turning pain into progress. To those listening to our story, remember this: betrayal is not the end of your journey. It can be the beginning of your most significant transformation. If you've been inspired by our journey, if you believe in the power of resilience and innovation, subscribe to our channel. Share this story with someone who needs to hear that they can overcome, that they can transform their greatest challenges into their most significant opportunities. Hit that subscribe button, share this story, and remember, your most challenging moment can be the catalyst for your greatest innovation. Our journey continues, and this is just the beginning.